Welcome to Soft Bites Podcast. Your life, your dentistry. We talk about ways to have more fun and meaning in one of the coolest and most rewarding professions in medicine. Conversations on how to bring awareness, create a healthy workplace, and provide emotional insights to make dentistry a fulfilling activity while making space for one's wonder, creativity, and freedom. Here are your hosts, Manuela and George Andre.
Hello, everyone. We are back. Yes. Hello, Andre. How are you?
I'm fine. And you? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm very happy to be here with you. I missed you. For the ones
Same
that
as
are
me.
the ones that are listening to us don't know, but we just had a big break of almost 2 months of recording.
Forced break.
Regarding the podcast. So it's very good to be here with you talking. I missed you. I told you I missed you. And welcome to everyone that is listening to us. And I'm very excited about talking about this theme here today with you, because this came to me from our last conversation. I think it was not the one that was recorded, but that you mentioned that you now needed a little bit more time when you get back from holidays or from your courses. You needed a little bit more time to be before starting your clinical work again. And I thought about that, and also because I'm working with a colleague that also she described me that she had a lot of difficulties on handling how to make the transition from work, because it was so intense during the day, from work to home, to her personal life. So I think it's very useful if we can talk about how to manage the mental work-home transition, either from just the normal day in the clinic and then going home, but also when we have holidays and then have to return to work, to the clinic, or just like you, that you give a lot of courses and travel all around the world, and then from that to your clinical work. So, but before we dive in, I know that you've been traveling a lot. Tell us about your last trips. I know that you've been in South America. You were where was it? Where was it that
I was the last trip I was in Chile, in Santiago. I was in Lima, in Peru, and then I was in La Paz, in Bolivia. Before that, I was in Malaysia. That was all. It was like 1 week in Malaysia, then about 2 weeks in Latin America, and I had. So basically, I would probably be lecturing about half of the time, and the other half would be just to know the places, just to travel arrangements. But I usually get some time to not only to work. I can't say it is really only work. I mean, it's just not that I cannot divide it. So I'm there working, or I'm there having fun. I pretty much find it very interesting and still very stimulating to me, especially if I go to a new place like Malaysia, or if I go to Latin America. And Latin America for me is just like this passion that I have, and I always have fun, even when I am working. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it's very difficult for me to make that distinction between working and having fun, because I really enjoy lecturing, and especially the challenge of speaking in Spanish. That, by the way, is much more difficult for me, much more tiring than speaking in English. I think English is a much easier language. And I usually go with colleagues for these trips. I usually bring some colleagues to Malaysia. I brought some colleagues, and to Latin America, I was brought by Paulo, and Paulo was always telling me that speaking in Spanish is the most tiring language to give courses, because we are Portuguese and we think that we know a little bit of Portuguese, but we do a lot of mistakes, but they understand us, and they always say that we speak Spanish decently. But like I was saying, I don't find that it is a big difference between working and having fun. Of course, there's all this traveling, and there's lack of sleep, and there's lots of airports, and there's the schedule, and there's always the stress of speaking, sometimes giving hands-on courses in other premises, and there's something that is missing here or there, and I mean you are. It's always a challenge to be lecturing in a place where you're not used to. But I find it, well, at least I try to make the effort of having fun throughout the journey, and I think that's something that I really I like it, and I think that even in my regular practice, I try to do the same thing. I mean, we have to try to have some fun in what we are doing, and we have to find the thrill of that, even if it is the thrill of making things the best that we can. And I think that's we should always get a stimulus of that. But yes, I've been traveling quite a lot, and I think you've been traveling as well. And life's good. I can't complain, honestly. I can't complain.
Let me just make a note here, because what you said, I find it very interesting. This means that you have the intention of having fun in what you are doing.
Oh yes,
right.
I wanted to. That's what I wanted to express, and I was not capable. Thank you for that. Exactly. I want to have fun, basically, while I work.
So you set that intention for you,
yes,
right?
Yes,
for your day.
Yes.
Okay.
So no matter what happens, I will, even within the chaos, or even if things don't go as well, or even if I don't perform as well, I really want to take advantage of the experience and try to find the positive I think that's something that you train, but you have to have the will to do that. I try to. It's not always easy, but I try to.
Yeah, because I find it. I'm just putting the note here because for the ones that are listening, they can say, yeah, okay, he's in South America lecturing. Of course, you will have fun. But you said it also. That's what. But also in my clinical work and in my routine work, that's what I practice. Also, I try to have fun. So you have that intention. And so it's just not because you're
let me give you an example.
Malaysia or something. It's because you set that intention for yourself.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You get to know me too well by now. It's almost scary.
No. You said it. It was your words. It was your words.
But I didn't express it the way that you did it. And let me give you an example, which is, for example, I came back and I was immediately thrown into the melting pot of my practice. Yes, that is expanding. That went from 3 assistants over the last year to 6, and the other one that was pregnant, she came back. So and I'm also delegating a lot of administrative work to one of my new assistants. So I'm just dropping a lot of responsibilities to her. But that's all a transition, and you have to train them, right? And there's a lot of things going on, and then there's a new chair that's going to be installed. So many things and then in Portugal we are in the process of regulations of X-rays and stuff like. So there's a lot of things going on, and I was like, there was one of those days that I was there, and I was like, all these things were happening, and I was almost in autopilot in a way of saying, okay, what's the good in this? What's the good thing about this? How can you have fun between all this? And I was thinking, well, it's kind of funny if you look at like from a childish perspective, like from a child point of view, it's like you are constructing something, right? Like you are, I won't say manipulating people, but you are creating a team is something very interesting, right? And I'm not saying that from an ego perspective. I'm saying that, I mean, it's good to try to implement a team and try to see the personality that the team itself makes from them, right? Because I mean, you create something and you try to create the systems and you try to create the culture. I mean, you try, but it's also very interesting to step aside and see exactly their own. Because I think the culture is something you create, but it's also something that arises, isn't it? And if it's in good foundation, I think it's very interesting. But I was thinking to myself, how cool is this? Yes, there's a lot of case, but it's actually very cool. It's very challenging. And it reminds me of that book of Ryan Ollie that he says that the obstacle is the way. And it's true. I think that we have to find ways that to look at what we believe to be an obstacle and actually make it funny, make it interesting. And it's not about overcoming the obstacle, because actually you never overcome everything, right? You always have some challenges. But to look at the process and try to 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 enjoy the process and try to. I know it sounds cliche, but actually, uh, when you are, and I think that any dentist that owns a clinic, sometimes, of course, it takes years, but I'm pretty sure that every dentist that tries to create a clinic goes through phases where he finds glimpses where he says, "Well, this is really funny. Yes, it's chaos, but it's actually quite funny." And I have to say that those glimpses for me have been getting larger and larger and larger and larger and more constant. So it's not like you are okay, you have a success and you are very happy then, but you know that next there will be a challenge. I think that, at least in my perspective, for this year for me has been like more stable, and these glimpses of happiness have become more stable and larger. As you say, I set the intention to try to be. I wouldn't say happy, but to try to feel interested and curious of what's going on, which I think is something, because curiosity is happiness, is happiness, isn't it? I mean, you cannot be curious and be unhappy, is it? Very interesting, and I think that's a word that better. I think that's a word that better describes it. And I don't know if I just posted recently on Instagram a movie. Have you seen that movie Stutz? From
No, I still didn't have the
Jonah
time.
Hill.
I know.
You have to
It's very
see
good.
it. You have to see it.
It was
So
recommended
when you
already
see
by
it,
a lot of friends. Yeah.
when you see it, just text me to see what
Okay.
you thought about. I thought it was really brilliant, really innocent, really brilliant, and I think that you will find amazing the movie. Honestly, it's so simple. It's very interesting. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but one of the things basically, it's a conversation between Jonah and his own shrink. And it's one of the things that we talk a lot about in the course, which is the transition between more traditional psychology and a more action-based psychology, which is like not so much based on the past of the patient, but based on what you can do right now, what's the actual steps. And a lot of that has to do with many things that we talk on the course, that you could talk on the course, and I think that you'll find it really, really sweet. It's a very, very nice movie. It's very, the characters are really authentic, and it's probably one of the best movies that I've seen in many
I'll
years.
see it.
Very, very
I'm
interesting.
saving it for.
Yeah,
I was saving it for when I was available, totally available to do it. I
it
will
is
see it.
very good. Yeah, but
But
one of the things that it talks in the movie is exactly that, is that pain will always be present, struggle will always be present, and you always have to work. So there's pain, there's challenges, and you always need to keep working. So if that is something that is part of your life, why not embrace it and enjoy it and see the best of everything?
that's I think that's a
But
beautiful metaphor
sorry.
for dentistry, because what I see
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
is colleagues dentists trying to find this zen free dentistry, that it's like
Yes,
they
yeah.
want to have zero problems,
Yeah.
zero stress, zero
No, it's
emotional
no.
stress, and that's not possible. And they have to embrace that. They have to embrace that.
Yeah.
And if you train the other part, because if what you focus on is on the stress, is on the suffering, is on the all all you do is reacting, and all you do is grow those things. If on the other hand you see, you cultivate curiosity, you train what you just said, the intention of having fun, the intention of the beginner's mind that you said also, like seeing things as a child, then you have you completely change your perception, and you can focus on the good part. No, of course, always having the awareness that there is also of course a bad part, that it's impossible to have a stress-free dentistry. It's impossible to have zero problems in dentistry. But you can balance the plates, and you can after that you can enjoy it and you can have fun with it. But curiosity, it's a very important skill, and I think it's something that all dentists have in the beginning, and it's something very innato. How do you say that in English? Sorry.
Innate. I think it's innate.
It's something that all dentists have in a very easy way, but over the time, especially if they spend their days just putting out fires, and just reacting, they forget about it, because they don't have the time or the energy to cultivate it.
I think I think that there are I was thinking about what you were saying, and it's true that there will always be pain, and and you always need to accept a certain amount of distress. I think that if, as long as you set the culture and you show it for yourself that you want to respect people no matter what happens. I mean, you may disagree with people, but if you set a culture where respect and saying sorry and say thank you, if that's something that is really present. And you want to have drama-free places. Everybody understands, so this is the culture that we want to implement. I mean, yes, there will be problems, but we are here to respect each other. These are the things that as they are. Even if we don't disagree in the future, we are here. We will still be friends and stuff like that. I mean, if we all act as grown-ups, and to act as grown-ups, it also means to be very open, isn't it? And to be, and especially from the leader, it means to be very open and very vulnerable.
And let me just add, to be self-aware and to take responsibility. That's very important also.
Yes. And to say, and I think that if you are in a place where everybody feels comfortable to say sorry after making a mistake, if it's something that is normalized, for me, I think that's one of the tips that really lowers drama and makes people feel more comfortable. And I rather have that. And for me, it's much more important that, I mean, the culture where everybody feels safe to say sorry and to admit a mistake, starting by the leader, right? But if everybody feels safe to admit a mistake and to say sorry, for me, that's much more important than a picture at the Christmas dinner, of the annual Christmas dinner, where everybody says they are a family and stuff like that. I mean, that's just a byproduct. I think the most important thing is actually what happens outside the team building events that are public, that people take pictures of. And I think if people understand that off the highlights and off the social media, people really care about them and try to implement a culture where it is safe to do a mistake, then I think that you are setting the ground for really being curious and having fun and having acceptance in your practice. And I think that's something for me that really is important. Really is important. Yeah, I don't know. You know something. Sometimes I talk a lot about my staff and stuff. One of the episodes, we should actually ask a couple of them to come here and see if it is exactly as I say.
I would love that. Yes,
because it seems like it seems that whenever I'm talking, I do and I this and I that. But actually, it would be funny to have them here to say, no, actually, it's full of shit. Yeah. It's all lies. It treats us like shit. No, I'm joking.
Okay, I will arrange it.
That would be something. That would be something fun.
Okay.
To have a couple of them assistants and doctors. Yeah.
Going back to our subject. Tell me, before we speak about the the transition between work home after a busy day in the practice. Because we start talking about your trips. So why do you need, for example, why do you need now more time to recover before you start your clinical work? Because I think this can be also not only, okay, you are doing something dentistry related. So you are lecturing and it's still dentistry, but it's not clinical work. But also we can talk about, for example, when we go on holidays, or because why do we need, why it's important to have some time to recover before we get back to the clinical work?
I think there are several ways.
It's now that you need time, or you always need it, or before you arrive from a flight from Chile at 11 o'clock in the evening, and at the other day at 9 o'clock you were working in the practice.
Yeah, but for example, the last time that I came from Malaysia on Monday morning because I had some troubles in the schedule, and I worked on Monday afternoon, and that was actually quite okay. It's not something that I didn't want to. I usually prefer to arrive in one day and have at least I don't know, half a day at least of if I arrive in one day in the evening, I'd like to work only the next day in the meeting only in the afternoon. I mean, just have a morning or an afternoon or a day to chill out. I think that would be the best thing. But sometimes that happens. I think you also have to get into context that we are me and my team. We are very effective communicators. I mean, we all my assistants check their email twice a day, and we have a WhatsApp group. So we are very, very efficient. So communication is very easy between us, and the schedule is pretty much organized. I mean, I know exactly what I'm going to do. There are almost no surprises, and I also have a team that backs up my emergencies and stuff. So there's that part. I mean, it's not like I'm put into the fire of emergencies and stuff like that. So I know exactly what's going on. So that's very important. So I know where I'm going to.
So you think that one of the things to reduce stress, anxiety for going back to work, it's to know exactly what to expect when you go back to work, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I know this may sound very, very basic, but I have access in my cell phone to all of the schedule. All my staff, they have access in their cell phones to the schedule and to the files of each patient. We all have access to the Dropbox. So we are very effective communicators. I mean, if any dentist anywhere in the world, as long as he has Wi-Fi, he can know exactly, he can look at the file of the patient, he can look at the photos of the patient. If I need to talk to them directly, I do talk to them directly. I mean, we have some hygiene policy regarding WhatsApp. I mean, and emails. None of them is obliged to respond or see emails out of working hours or during weekend. None of them is allowed now. They are allowed not to see that unless it's like an emergency, something. Then we call them, but it's very rare that happens. But we have a WhatsApp group where everything that I believe to be good for the group I post there. But yes, I think it's really important to know exactly what is going on, how is the schedule going to be, and if there is anything out of the schedule, my dental assistants would let me know as soon as possible. And I always I'm always aware of exactly what I am going to do. So in that way, yes, we are organized. This does not mean that it's not hard to go back to work, of course.
Yeah, but it is. You would say that it's almost impossible for you to arrive and to have like your 9 o'clock patient. Imagine that you start working at 9, That you have your 9 o'clock patients plus two emergencies.
No, that we would be prepared for that.
Uh-huh.
They wouldn't allow that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't allow that to happen
Mm-hmm.
because it's not good. It's not good for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Someone would be seeing them, or if that would happen, I would have known a few days in advance,
Mm-hmm.
or even I would have known that, and we
Mm-hmm.
would have organized ourselves, and we would prepare ourselves for that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
from that sense, yes, we prepare this. We prepare our days. I mean, it's. We have a very good communication regarding that schedule and what
Mm-hmm.
we have. No one goes to an appointment without knowing exactly what they should be doing. Of course, it could be in a control appointment. They could diagnose a caries and they would do a restoration, but it's very rarely that something like that happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost impossible
Mm-hmm.
that happens.
Okay, no, I think that's good. I think that's good. It's just because it happens, in certain clinics, and it's a major.
It can happen, but it's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I understand. I mean, but I think that if you let that happen, I mean, if you go to your practice and it can happen to be a lot of emergencies there. I mean, there's some sort of bad communication of disorganization of the system because that's not good for anyone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They have to. There needs to be a system to deal with emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That's
you cannot
it.
book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's it. It also can
you
mean
cannot
that you are
overbook
in
your
a place
agenda.
that it works with a lot of emergencies, and then you need to address that.
Yes.
So you need to have a system in place
Yes.
to manage
Yes,
the emergencies.
of course.
Because if someone arrives and it had the 9 o'clock patient and plus other appointments, it's a day that's not going to start well, and it's not going to go well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think it was very important what you said. So to be able to have that control in what you are expected. I mean to do. I think that's very important. And also you said a very important thing also about boundaries, because I think that this is this work home transition. You have to really have to set boundaries, because nowadays I think all practice have a WhatsApp group. It's the way that they all communicate.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting. There needs to be
some hygiene there.
Yeah, that's it. This summer, I had a lot of messages of colleagues asking about that they were having troubles and how to deal during their vacation time with the WhatsApp group, because it was stressful for them.
Yeah, they are encouraged not to see the messages. If it's something if it's really an emergency, we would text them and contact them and call them. But it's not. They are encouraged not to see the WhatsApp outside of working hours, vacation. They are encouraged not to do that.
Mm-hmm. But
if there is an emergency, we'll call them directly.
But don't you think that it's important that from the moment that there is a WhatsApp group, that you are part of this WhatsApp group, that also that those rules of hygiene, just like you said, that are also set. And if they are not, then the professional is entitled to say, look, during my vacations, I will not be seeing the WhatsApp group. So if you have really something important, please text me or call me.
Yeah, I think that, of course, they are entitled to do that. But I think that it would be unnecessary. I think it really is a beginner's mistake if the leadership or the management of the practice does not has the.
You would be surprised.
The willingness. I think really. No, but it is. It really is. It is a really, really basic and naive mistake, and up to a point that there's also some legislation regarding that. I think in some countries. I mean, it's completely counterproductive if you don't have that rule, Because the thing is that if a dentist is in a practice where there is a WhatsApp group and that rule is not made initially by the managers, it's very likely that he feels a little bit uncomfortable by having to tell them that, and some people may misinterpret that. There's something a little bit more, oh, he's not that motivated. So I think if you as a manager, if you leave that gap, that someone has to tell you that they will not be answering WhatsApp messages unless there are emergencies regarding a patient or something, which even still they should be, because if they write everything down, they should be contacted, right? But sometimes it may happen. There's once a year it can happen, something like that. That really, look, we really need to talk to you because this or that. That's really something. But even that should be like an exception. There should be like a text before, or we have to talk about this if you don't mind. But if you as a manager, if you create a situation where someone has to tell you that they should not be answering emails or calls or that are not emergent, that are not urgency, I think it really is a problem with the management, and I think it's really a naive mistake and a beginner's mistake if you don't set that policy, because everyone, if you set that policy, I can guarantee 100% that people will be more engaged in the WhatsApp group. I can guarantee you. That's human nature. I can guarantee you. If you give them the freedom not to need to see the WhatsApp group outside working hours, if you give them the freedom, I guarantee you they will be more motivated and they will take more take more responsibility using the WhatsApp group. I can guarantee you that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think it's very important to set those rules, and I don't know. I think you're being very optimistic. I think.
No,
I think
maybe I am being very, but that reveals a lot of
because
dysfunction.
It goes back to what we said also, because dentists, most of the times, dentists are the practice owners, and they have to do the management also, and it's too much. They don't have the time, so there are certain details that go beyond. But
look, let me give you a very good tip. Gmail, and I do this all the time. If I'm thinking about sending an email to someone, first of all, they are allowed not to see it. But sometimes I don't want to bother them. Or even sometimes I don't want them even to think that I'm working at that time. Something like that. And I just schedule it to arrive the next morning at 8 a.m. It's easy. Gmail has that for free. I used to pay Boomerang, but now it's Gmail for free. I mean,
they all have it nowadays. The possibility for you to schedule when you want the email to be delivered. I also do that. If it's late, if it's past a certain hour, I always reschedule for first thing in the morning. Yeah. So it's very.
And also, one of the things that I think that you show me regarding whether should we use WhatsApp or should we use Gmail. Honestly, I think that most of the situations regarding treatment plans, scheduling, and stuff like that, most of the things should be based on email. That's what I think.
I also
WhatsApp,
think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You lose track.
WhatsApp is something where I need more interaction, and it can never be something that is patient related. It's something that I need some interaction with everybody to see and to have some sort of discussion or to book a meeting or something. But and sometimes we also have a group with the lab, and when things are not well, I like to post things in that group so that everybody sees them and there is some interaction there. But Gmail is my source of communication. Is my most used communication tool by far.
Yes. I think.
I think that you also. Sorry, I think you also need to understand the energy of each application, right? And WhatsApp, it's very annoying. It's very, very annoying. WhatsApp is become very ubiquitous, isn't it? It's all over the place, and it's becoming sometimes too much noise.
You have a lot of a lot of groups, and it's
yes, it's terrible.
It can become a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
It can become a little bit
Yes.
overwhelming. So
Yes.
and like you said, I mean, nowadays these things are, or already there are laws concerning these things, and it's actually not allowed for, if you are not on your work hours, for you to be disturbed, and it's not expected. And I think things are changing because it was expected for you to be always present and for you to be always responsive to the WhatsApp or to the email. And now there was a need to become all of this in legal matter more simple and clear. But it's not, you are not expected anymore to respond immediate to those messages and emails. So
I always tell my team that, I tell them, look, you may eventually get an email or WhatsApp, but you don't have to see it. I mean, the next day, if you, in the working hours, I mean, if something, but you don't have to see it. I mean, if you're on vacation and stuff, we'll only bother you, and we will try to be as respectful as possible with your time. It's something that's really, really important. Otherwise,
great. I think that's really important, and I think it's really important to be said, because it is. You might think it's common sense, but it's not. It's not that common. It's not that common sense. It's not that common sense.
It's really straightforward. The more respectful you treat them in the WhatsApp group, I mean, if it's very clear that they are not allowed to answer outside working hours on vacations, they will be more motivated. They will regard the group as something more respectful and something more pleasant. 100% sure.
Okay, so
and also, I usually, we don't place their jokes and stuff like that, but I don't think that's also an issue. I mean, if you as long as you don't, those groups that everybody's always placing jokes and you just forget it.
It's like you said, you have to feel the energy, right? And that's why I think email is more professional, and that email is where you should deal with the more professional things, and then WhatsApp you can be a little bit more personal and just
one of the things in WhatsApp, I mean, just say congratulate someone, is someone's birthday. I mean,
that's it.
It's good that everybody says hi, something like that. Once in a while, there can be some fun moments, but I won't make it daily or even weekly. I won't do that, because otherwise, I just think you have to feel it to see what fits there.
So I think those two things that we just said, they are very good tips on how to going back to work after an holiday, or after you you spent some time lecturing or doing other things, dentistry related or not dentistry related, and you have to go back to the practice. So knowing exactly what is expecting you, I think that will reduce your anxiety a lot. To know what you are, what's expecting you when you enter the clinic. I think that's important, and also to have this boundaries when you are away from the clinic. So I think these two tips can really make an impact and on you going back to the practice, and also on how you are when you are away from the practice, because if you are always with let's go back to the WhatsApp group. If you are always with messages and with emails, and if you are concerned about what's expecting you when you go back, then you have that feeling that you cannot completely disconnect, and that you are still stressed. Even if you are not in the clinic, you are still carrying the stress of the clinic with you.
I also, and just to finish this part here of the communication, one thing very important is that if there is such a need of frequent communications, because the systems are not very organized. I mean, you must know exactly, everybody, every nurse and every doctor must know exactly at each point where the patient is at and what was done in the last appointment and what should be done for the next appointment. So if things are pretty much organized, I mean, it's not like a dictatorship, but if everybody agrees on a certain system and that things should be organized, if they really are, the need for that sort of emergency communication is very low, actually. Mm-hmm. Very low. So if you feel that, what how about, but sometimes this may happen. Well, if that is happening so frequently, it's because you are not organizing your treatment plans and the schedule of the patient. It's because something is failing. I mean, you are in a reactive mode and not a proactive mode. Mm-hmm. This is why, again, initial examination, treatment planning systems and stuff like that, if they prevent a lot of issues. That can be also a result, if you have such need of frequent communication, that can be a result of the systems are not well into place.
Totally agree. So work on your systems. That's what we always say. Yes. Okay, so and what about how to manage the mental work home transition? So because we know that dentistry is consumes a lot of energy, and even if you love your job and if you have fun with it, I mean, I think everyone, one point or another. I don't know if you ever faced the challenge of how to sometimes limit your mental energy, because you sometimes days are so intense that you have difficulties to disconnect. Did you ever face this situation? Did you ever felt this need?
Okay, so what you mean is like, okay, let me see if I understand. Tomorrow. I just came from vacation. Tomorrow I'll have a full days of work. You mean the mental attitude the day before or in the day that I'm there?
Well, you can say both. You can explain to me what's your mental attitude in the day before you start working when you are in vacation, and then I want to hear about when you are at the practice, how on a week that, for example, if you have 4 days of clinic work, how do you disconnect from work to home? But tell me before about your mental attitude from when you come from vacation and you start working.
Okay. I don't know if I am a good example because I'm always looking forward, and again, I think work is a very heavy word. I'm always looking forward to see how things are going in something that I've tried so hard to set for many years. You know, I'm always curious. So I don't know if I am a very good example, but I'm always curious to see how things are going. That's one thing. But I think that there really is one thing which is, I don't think that it's usually talked that much, which is, let me see if I can. Okay, so apparently, even today, Manuel Neves was telling me, look, I'm really so happy. Manuel Neves is a guy that I work in, one of the practices that I work in, a practice that I work in Porto 1 day a week. And he was telling me, look, I'm so happy for you. You have a hell of a life. You travel so much. And I'm really happy I can really see you're having fun and stuff. And I was thinking, yeah, he's right. You know, he's right. I work a lot and I also have a lot of fun. It's just a good stage in my life, I guess. What about the jealousy that can create in my team or isn't it?
You think it creates jealousy?
Isn't it? No, I don't think it creates jealousy, but it's very. I mean, I think that I am very good at predicting human behavior. You know, within an organization, I'm very good, and especially avoiding that and making the systems to avoid that. So Do I think that my practice, do I think that they feel jealous for me? No, honestly, I don't think. I never think that. And for several reasons. First of all, because I want the best for them. Let me give you examples. I try to go towards what each dental nurse wants in my practice. I mean, if someone is more design driven, I let them do more social media. If someone is more administrative given, I try to. I try to make them happier, and also financially, I do my best to make things fair. To my staff, I think I pay them what I believe to be fair for the small practice that it is. I help them financially taking education. They know that I do a big effort to find patients for them. They know that I'm willing to help them in any way. They know that I will tolerate technical mistakes, but I will not tolerate organizational mistakes. That's a different story. So I think that they understand that I have their back, and therefore I believe that they have my back as well. But I try to place myself in a position where I very frequently say that I'm sorry that I was mistaken. So I think this is a very important element here. Because if you separate from your practice that much, and if you have the kind of life that I've been having, for example, over the last year, which is probably, I don't know if maybe next year as well, but I mean, I've been traveling a lot. I've been meeting very different places. I've been bringing a lot of people with me. But for example, one of the things that my staff also knows is that for next year, I will bring some of the doctors that work with my practice to travel with me as well, and to lecture with me as well. So I think that making them feel engaged in the situation and making them feel part of the success that I have, I think it's a key element here. This is why I'm telling, because the opposite of the spectrum, which is quite likely to happen, is that, okay, this is my practice. I am here. My dental staff is here, nurses. I'm going on vacation. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to post a lot of things on social media. They are going to see it. And then I'm going to come back. And it's very easy for human nature to say, well, while he was having fun, we were here with shit up to our chin, taking care of things and stuff like that. Do you understand that attitude?
Yes, I understand. But it's like you said, it's all about those key things that you said, because I'm sure that when you go back, you don't start complaining that, oh my God, and I spend a lot of money and I don't have money for this and this. And look, do you understand?
Exactly.
Do you understand what I mean?
Exactly.
Because I know situations like this. I mean, look, I gave a mindfulness training in a practice in Belgium, and because the owner of the practice did the stress reduction course with me, and then he asked me to give the like a workshop to the assistants. So I was one day with them, and as you know, I mean, the assistants, they know everything about the clinics, and they know, I mean, they are the face of the clinics, and they know everything, and the doctors and everything. And it's so it was so interesting. It was so interesting to see them at a certain point. They were loosen up, even because of the exercise and everything. And it was so interesting for them to at a certain moment, they were speaking to each other, and they were talking about which doctor, you know, that he does not have money, but he has always the most expensive bags and Louis Vuitton and this, but he always complains about money.
Kind of things that I'm talking.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. I'm sure you do not do this. You do what you were saying. You engage with your team. You bring your team to your work. You try to understand what are their needs. How can you help them grow and strive in your practice? What they like to do. You try to compensate them financially. So there was going back to this practice. There was the other one that she always also, because this is very interesting, it's all about money. Money is a big thing in dentistry, as we all know, and
money and status.
And dentists show position through the way they dress, through the automobile that they drive, the vacations, the bags that they have. But then they forget that they spend the day complaining to their assistants, and that their assistants make fun of them because, and this is very sad actually, the assistants make fun of them because they see that they earn a lot of money, that they spend it all just to an appearance.
Yes.
And one of them even say, look, I have a better life than these people. I earn 10 times less than them, and I have a better life than all the dentists I work with.
I'm so glad that you touched this point, because I think that's one of the things that people are really not into too much talking. I mean, there's a lot of, we all have
it's sad that we see
right?
colleagues complaining about money to people that like earn 10 times less than them, but they do it. So it's like I said, no self-awareness and no responsibility. But this happens.
But I'm so happy that you brought this to the spotlight, because that was the kind of things that I was going through in a different way. Like you come from vacation and you may get some jealousy. I mean, exactly those signs of status. They are very common, especially in the industry. I think that I sometimes go a little bit too much over the other edge, because I am a bit, how can I say? I tend to disengage very quickly from whenever I see that attitude. But sometimes that's not very healthy from my part, because there are sometimes some interesting people that I sometimes disengage just because they are dressed in a certain way or very flashy or stuff like that. So I do have some issues with that, and I usually disengage very quickly from those sorts of environments. And for example, I remember of even giving a lecture in, I think it was last year, that I was giving a lectures in the Douro region, and I arrived there with my Volkswagen Tiguan running on gas, because I like to place my surfboard and go everywhere. And it was by far the worst car in the parking lot. And I was giving the lecture there. And it really made me think, look, Andre, you should reconsider your relationship with cars and stuff like, because sometimes this gets too obvious. I mean, it makes no sense for you to, but to go to your point, yes, I think that you have to be reasonable and conscientious, and responsible. I mean, you cannot try to be someone outside of your practice and on your social media and on a lifestyle, and then arrive at the practice and act like you had to, you don't have money, that you should pay them less. I mean, if you are living a lifestyle of vacations and stuff like that, I think it's really important that your team, in my case, it is vacation. I do spend a lot of money on vacation, money and time on vacation and time off. I do that. And maybe that's just the same thing as, I don't know. But if you do that, I think it really is important for the team to feel that you are only doing that because you believe to be doing the best for the team. That's what I think. Because otherwise you may create a situation. And by no means you should ever say that, if you don't have money, it is because you don't have money, but you are also sacrificing your own personal life. Because it's I'm not saying that you should be miserable because your business is bad, but I don't think it makes that much sense to be showing off wealthy lifestyle and status lifestyle just because, and at the same time, always complain to your practice, your staff, because they will not like it and they will be unhappy and they will not have your back, and they will very easily not support you behind your back. That's what I think. So you have to be careful with that. And the reason why I talked to you about this was because of that. Exactly. I mean, if I am traveling that much and if I arrive, I need to be conscientious that yes, I am doing that, but at the same time, I'm making the practice for you to thrive and I'm willing to, even for example, the last month, September, it's always like that. There's a drop in patients. And okay, well, there's a drop in patients. Everybody has been complaining in Portugal about the drop of patients in the last months. I think it's all over Europe because of the eventual recession and the taxes of the credits and stuff like that, and also because kids come back to school. And I said, okay, well, let's do this. Let's message all of our patients that have not been in the practice for more than 2 years. Let's recall them and see. Well, if you're not being followed by someone else, just make sure that you come and stuff like that. I mean, there's some active effort in making sure that they do have patients. I mean, I think you have to be reasonable. I mean, I think that looking at human nature, you need to fundamentally, I think you need to understand that you are exactly the same value as anyone else that works with you. It is not because of the fact that you have studied 5 or 6 years in a health degree, just sometimes because your parents allowed you to do that. I think you have to you need to respect people as much as possible, and you need to have this human respect for the human emotions and the human lives, that they are just as equally valuable as you, and that you are not the center of the universe. If anything, it's not you that works, it's not them that work for you, it's you that works for them, actually. And I think that is really the spirit. If you want to open a practice in the team, you really need to embrace the fact that you are working for them. Yes, you may be paid for that. You need to be paid, and you need to be paid for your stress and stuff like that. But you are responsible for creating an environment where things make sense, more than making money. Things that they need to make sense. They need, of course, to be financially sustainable. But you need to create a small universe where people feel safe. I think that really is one of the most important things of creating a business. It's creating a safety where people can be creative, and where people can be safe, and where they can organize their lives. And I think you should never forget that responsibility. And yes, you if you are a leader, you have additional responsibilities in the way that you. Yeah, but I think that also things are changing, because if you look at a few years ago it was still. I remember someone telling my dad that was like, when I opened the practice. And by the way, my parents they helped me opening the practice. But I remember that when I was in the summer, I always use sandals to go to the practice. Flip flops, right? I think that's. I always go you always go on shorts. And I remember that in the first years when I opened the practice, I was joked about that. I mean, there's a dentist. I mean, he should be a good dentist. Only after a few years, someone commented with my parents saying like, "Oh, I remember a few years back, people would mock your son because he would go with flip flops to the practice." Now it really is someone that like is a reference in town and stuff like that. But if you look at the most successful people on the planet now, that's why I'm saying that things are changing. I mean, if you look at people like Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and all these guys, I mean, they really live, most of them, quite simple lives, not very flashy lives. And even in terms of clothes, they almost always wear the same clothes, not to have to think about that. I mean, most of them, they are not flashy people. And I think that younger generation is starting to realize that what really matters is what you create and how things create. Yes, it's true that especially in Portugal, I don't know if, I think in Europe, but in Portugal also, there is lots of that status stuff with the car and stuff. I don't know why that happens. It's something that I've never been really a part of. I do relate myself to some of those people, but not that much. But I understand that. I understand that there is that. But you should really be careful, and you should think twice. There's nothing wrong with you wearing Yves Saint Laurent, Versace, and Armani stuff, and there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. I also have the brands that I like, but the thing is that you need to understand the message that you are passing out there. And also, at the end of the day, if you really think that your value comes from the things that you wear, I think you're heading for disaster. That's what I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I think
it makes much more sense to make if you really want to look good, the best thing is to invest in your body and your health. That's the best.
Even if you like, I mean, and even if you like fashion, as long as it's an expression of yourself, you can have fun with it. I mean,
exactly.
That's it. You can have fun with it, and if you like it, and it's a way of you expressing yourself and present it yourself to the world. But have fun and use it as an expression of your creativity. We already talked about a lot of that. You know that you have. There's a lot of ways that you can express your creativity, and some people, they like to express it through their clothes and their makeup, and their hair. Use it, but as a way of art, even, right? Not as a status.
Absolutely.
I think that's very interesting. That part.
That's a very important distinction. I think.
I think that's a very important distinction. It was something that I learned to do. There was a moment in my life where I stopped going to the Congress in Portugal because I didn't identify myself with that, and I like to go with jeans and sneakers, and it's like you could not, so and so I stopped going, and it was like, and I really like, to buy the pink sweater if I like it. So it's a way of me presenting myself, expressing myself. That was a shift that I had to do, and I say, okay, there's nothing wrong with it. Just do it. If you want to do it, just do it for yourself, for you to feel good. So I think it's
but in dentistry, there's a lot of that. I mean, there's a lot of the status stuff, which almost there isn't in like engineering or informatics or
but going
like that. It's much more pregnant.
A little bit back to what you said, and to that point of you. How you present yourself to your team, and how you make sure that you have an healthy environment and that you don't have jealousy and all of that. I think it has a lot to do also with what you mentioned in one of our talks. Would you really practice what you preach? You said that when you were in Brazil with your family, that you observed that. So to be in an environment that it's really, this is what you see, it's what you get. So you really practice what you preach, and you are authentic, and you present yourself with that authenticity.
I try to. I try to.
Because people feel that.
One of the biggest goals that I had a few years ago, I remember that clearly, is that I will not try to ever in my life try to look like something that I am not, or working towards.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't want that. I don't think that, because that's very draining. That is very draining, and I think it comes a lot with acceptance of your own limitations.
Yeah,
there are many things in the I think there are many things that I have that are good, and are just the same amount of things that I have that are bad. And I think that if you are aware of them, and if you are responsible, especially with the bad part, you can eventually control them. Not control them, but you can understand the consequences of your darkest side, let's say it.
Because
almost
we all have
shameful
it.
side or
we
stuff.
all have it.
Yes, of course. Yeah. And I think that you have to admit to yourself the things that you are not that you lack, isn't it? And yes, it comes from authenticity. I think it does. Yes, I think it does.
Because, like you said,
that's what I try.
If you present yourself as something that you are not, imagine, going back to the example that we were talking about, imagining like presenting yourself with driving this I don't know I don't know what's the biggest car that is, whatever, Porsche, or and having a Louis Vuitton and then arriving and complaining about money. So that's a completely,
it makes no sense.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Yeah. So I believe in a leadership style where you can completely feel responsible for the thing that you are creating.
Yeah, taking responsibility.
That you feel a big responsibility.
Yes.
I think that can be overwhelming. Yes, that can be overwhelming. But I don't find any other way. I mean, taking responsibility does not mean taking complete control over. It's like setting a ground for letting people be happy and feel safe. That's for me what it means. And in everything, I think there's a balance. But I think that if your staff feels that you are willing to create something that their comfort is as important as your comfort, and their life quality is as important as your life quality, and you want them to feel safe working them, and you want to show them look, I believe that you should go this way, and if you are flexible in that stuff, and also the fact that they understand that for them to earn money must come in. I mean, if there's this transparency, I don't think that you, even if things go wrong, at least in the end, you'll have their respect. And I think that's very important. But if you are financially responsible for stuff, I mean, you can prevent a lot of issues. This is why we talk so much in the course about the importance of financial awareness of what's going on. I mean, if people understand that you are trying to get things, trying to get on top of things, and that you anticipate, and you have systems that can give alarms if things are not going wrong, right? I mean, I think that you will have more respect from them than that jealousy of you coming from vacation or jealousy of stuff like that. That dissolves itself. That dissolves itself, right?
Yeah. I agree. Totally agree.
Also, one of the things that I wanted to talk was, yes, that is, how do you how do you approach the way your time out from vacation, and you go on vacation? Because one of the things that a few years back, it was like the car and the house and the clothes, and there's this shift now. It's regarding the lifestyle. The lifestyle is the status. The social media lifestyle is the status in a certain way, and it is true. So if you are on vacation and you show this, I mean, if you have this
it's like
vacation,
if you don't post, it's
Maldives,
like you are not doing it, so you have to post it.
it's just like, I mean, you are not in a true relationship if you don't place photos on the Maldives, are you? Isn't it? Your relationship is not serious if you don't go to the Maldives and place photos. That's what I think now. So everybody's going to the Maldives and take photos to say that they are really in love. Otherwise, they are not really that much in love, which I found a little bit, at least very low in creativity. That's what I think. But whatever. If you do that, and we know that you spend a lot of money to go to the Maldives, right? To be completely alone, which is fine. I understand that. You cannot arrive and say that, at least not complain. You should be complaining, of course. It makes no sense. I really don't think it makes any sense regarding that. So that's one thing. Now, another thing is the preparation. How would you prepare yourself? The preparation, I think it's analog to what we were thinking about. Okay, so within the day, when you arrive home, when you get out of work, and when you arrive home. And the first time that I saw someone talking about this, and it was very recently, I would say maybe about 2 years ago. It was in a book from Brendon Burchard, High Performance, where basically he did a study for for thousands of people that were considered high performance. And it was like a very scientific approach to high performance, whatever that means. And one of the characteristics of very high performers was the capacity of dealing with transition areas. That was very interesting for me because I never thought about it. I would always bring the work home to myself or to someone that was with me, to any relationship that I had at the time. And it was really something that it really struck me when really? Actually, there needs to be a transition. You need to stop and think, that was where I was. That was the mindset. And I'm going to enter into a different mindset here. And I have to admit that I manage this much better now. Much better. Of course, I always bring things home. Sometimes I get grumpier and stuff like that. But I think I'm much better now doing that. I think I am much, much better now. And I think that you have to stop and think. Okay, so coming from vacation. So tomorrow I'm going to have vacation. What is the attitude? What is the attitude that I need to, what is the energy that's going to be coming out of me when I get with my team? Will they be missing me? Will I be warm to them? Will I come there with a thankful energy for them being there for me? Or will I go there with like a victorious, I was here and I was there and I'm the best of the world and stuff like that, and with a very arrogant attitude. You always have that choice. I always prefer, after vacation, I always prefer to enter softly, to enter them, enter as a part of the team there. So the team is working. They have things are going on, and let me fit in at the speed that they are. I don't want to disturb them. Let me slowly step in what you are doing. And then slowly, also our things, but always in a very passive way almost. Let me get inside and feel the energy that you are going. I don't want to come here, and because I am here, things will have to change. No. I want them to understand that they have their own energy, and the systems are the practice has its own energy, and so let me adapt to the energy that it is at the moment. Right? There's always this adaptation. That's the thing that works for me after vacation. I want to go slowly to see exactly. I want to feel how they are. I don't want to be a disturbing element. I don't want to arrive there. Look, here's the boss. Now, you understand? No, I'm here, and you have to watch out your back now.
But that was something that you realized, right? So you did that work to really see what was your intention. How do I get back? What is the energy that I want to have?
Yes, yes. What's it likely? And again, it's that thing. It almost in a sense, it's like you are worried about what they are thinking of you. And I think that from a leadership perspective, I think that's important. You have to realize what's the kind of energy. Yes, right. That thing that we always say on the course, which is you have to care about other people, but don't care about what they think of you. Right. There's this balance, and I think that when you get from a vacation or some time off, you really have to care more about them. You really have to care about them. So it's caring about them, but not caring what they think of you. I think you have to place more emphasis on caring about them and try not to disrupt. Because look, I think this is really a really important insight. If you go there with an attitude of over controlling, or with an I am here, let's see how this, I am here, and because I am here, I want to make sure that this goes well. What you are actually saying to them in an unconscious way is that the practice needs you.
Yeah.
You understand? And that's the worst thing. The practice does not need you, in my point of view. The practice should not, I mean, they need you, but you are replaceable. So if I enter there as another part of the replaceable machinery, it makes much more sense, even in unconscious way to them, because they realize, well, okay, this guy is here, he's gonna here do his job. He's not gonna come here like a hurricane and try to see what went wrong, how much money did you make? No. It's just that the practice is going and he just came back and he's just a part of the machinery and he's just trying not to disturb. Of course, that then I'll have to talk to the assistants or our things, but I think that always enters softly, should enter that softly, that transition. That's one of the things that it works for me.
Let me just add, I think it's a good tip also that you can do also the same thing when you stop work to prepare for vacations. So I think this is also something that I do.
I'm
also
very bad at that. I'm very bad.
I stop and say, okay, what is my intention for this vacation? Do I want to rest? Do I want to read? What is my intention? I think it's because it's exactly what you said. So you can also do the same thing. And you can check in with yourself to check in what you need of that vacation. And by doing that check-in, you can
do a checklist. Do a checklist of what you want, things that you want to do.
Yeah, that's it. So you can, like you said, what is the attitudes that I will bring for this vacation? What is the energy that I will bring from this vacation? I think it's also very useful, and it's a way of you to really switch off from the work mode and to the new intention and to the new attitude of vacation mode. I think that's also a good tip. So this check-in with yourself and to really understand what is more useful for you to bring to the time that you're going to have. Either is time free, or like you said, when the holidays are over and then you go back to work. But this is something that it's part of the self-awareness process, to really be aware of how you feel, what you want to give, how do you think is best for you to present yourself, what is more useful for you, for your team. But if you don't stop, and sometimes when I say these things, I always have this reaction of, oh yeah, but who has the time for that? But you don't need much time for that. I mean, you need
to. No,
you need 5-10 minutes.
Sometimes you just need to think think about it.
That's it. Exactly. That's it. You really need to do this check-in, and if you start doing this, like you said, it's all training. It's become much easier, and it's not even an effort to do that nowadays. For me, it's very easy to do that. So I think this is a very easy way for you to make the transition, not only from work to holidays, but also from holidays to work. And you explain it in a beautiful way, and I think it's really well said, because the way that you said that you do it, it's like it's an easy flow. It's just like, okay, I'm here, but you continue to do your work. I'm here to add something to you. So it's not like okay, it's here now.
The boss is here.
Yeah, that's it.
That's like really. I think it really is. Yeah. It's very tempting to do that, but it's also very unhealthy.
But maybe it has to do with what you said also, with this idea, even if it's in an unconscious way, that the practice does not work without you. So that you are needed there for that to work. So when you have this need of controlling everything, and then and then that's really you even if you don't want to show it, you end up showing it on your actions and in your words.
Yes,
and in your
exactly.
energy, because that's what your energy will say also.
Exactly. Yes, you have to create space for them to be willing to work and do their own mistakes, of course. And one of the things that I even was almost about trying to propose as a theme is to make an episode about a number. The number is 70 to 80, and I love that concept of not being perfect and striving for functionality and optimizing for improvement rather than perfection. Because I think in everything that we say here in this podcast, I think that both you and me, we never intend to show people that we are in any way perfect, or that we don't do the mistakes, or that we don't do the same things that everybody does. I think that all the things that we say, and that they will only strike an audience. The best way that they can strike the audience is that if they have done that mistake themselves before. That's when change happens. Because I don't think that any advice that we give or any recommendation that we give will change someone that has not will have an impact in such a way that someone will assimilate that and prevent mistakes based on what we said. I think that doesn't happen. What happens is that if you have done those mistakes before, now you understand. Sometimes it's good to have this conversation because now you understand, well, yes, I've done this mistake. This is what happened. And yes, it may be a good way to find a solution, but if you don't have that pain of failing, of doing the mistake, it's very difficult to change. But the thing that I like about that number, the 70 to 80, is just you have to be very happy with the good enough. I think you need to be able to really enjoy and be proud of yourself with the 70 to 80. Because that's how you get eventually to 100 if you want to. But you have to feel happy with the 70 to 80 because there's only so much, especially when we deal with people, you cannot expect that everybody does everything perfect all the time. And you have to allow that space for error. You have to allow that. It doesn't mean that you will not have consequences and stuff like that. But you have to stop dramatizing the 20% of mistakes that will happen. Of course, that you want to reduce them to 5%, to 10%. And some mistakes are more important than others, of course. But you have to be willing to accept that. And that was one of the things that I was probably like to propose to talk in this podcast. It's just
I already noted it.
Striving for perfection. Yeah, striving for perfection is really, really unhealthy. And sometimes whenever we give advice in the course and stuff, I think that's something that people should always be present, is that everybody does the mistakes. And this is a question of being more happy than the results than being unhappy, and accept that acceptance. I think it really is important. And yeah, that's it. Because it of course that there are some days that the transition is not well done. There will be vacations where the transition will not be well done. But I think that if you are aware of that, I mean, okay, yes, I did a mistake here. Okay, so
it's an ongoing work.
Number one,
it's an ongoing. Yeah. It will never stop. It will never stop. It's the art of remembering. Stop. You know, I usually, that's where the mantra that I use to myself. I have to remember to do it. You know, it's
and because it will never stop, you should never stop having fun. Or try to.
Yeah. That should be your attitude. You always have to bring up the positive attitudes. Otherwise, it's the negative ones that you grow. Yeah. It's like you grow you grow those muscles. Huh? If it's just the stress, the negativity, the control, the perfectionism, that's what will grow. That's what you will have on your days. If you bring the attitude of having fun and curiosity and beginner's mind, then those muscles will grow. That will become your energy. That will become who you are. So it's all about training and bringing the intention of doing it and of practicing it. But it makes all the difference. It works, and it makes all the difference in your days.
It is absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we call in dentistry treatment planning. It's the planning part of dentistry. You have to stop and think about what you are doing before you actually do that. That's exactly true.
Yeah.
But I think that you also wanted to.
Yes, I wanted to talk to you about ways to switch off
within the day
after work. So because it's a highly demanding work, you have a lot of external stimulation. There are certain days that are very intense. So how to make sure that you leave work at work and not bring work stress home with you? Because I think that's a big issue for dentists.
I can give you, for example, one of the things that really, and this is different for everybody. I mean, if you have children, that's usually one dimension, right? In a huge one. If you have a relationship or if you have a family, but I am, for example, and of course that I also have that sort of situation whenever I come home and to someone that is at home or to a family member, and that's also important. But for example, I'm giving you an example. One of the things that I usually do my training in the morning. I do my exercise in the morning, and I think that's the best time. But sometimes that needs to be shifted towards the end of the day, and sometimes the time between I'm leaving the practice and I'm starting the workout, sometimes usually with a personal trainer, sometimes that can be less than 15 minutes. And I am 100% sure that my mind is not in the workout most of the times when that time frame is very short. And the way that I try to deal with that is that I try to have at least like 50 minutes, minimum half an hour, because I want to lay down and I want to close my eyes and I really want to, I'm going to get into a mode which is more centered in myself and in my body. I want to be more connected with my body, And that shift for me sometimes is difficult, especially for workouts. I don't think it is very easy. Okay, so especially if you are, because if it is surfing, it's different because you go to the nature and nature commands things and you are just there. And surfing is part of the slowing down process. But if you are with a personal trainer, for example, for me, you have to be there because there's someone talking to you. You understand? There's a human being there, and you have to be present there. You have to respect the work that they are doing. And for me, I get sometimes a little bit. My head gets a little bit light. I mean, sometimes it gets more difficult to dive into my body and to dive into the workout. And I think that for relationships, it is exactly the same thing. Like I was telling you, the first time that I saw this was Brendan Burchard. He was giving me an example, and he says that, if you come from your office, just stay in your car like for 5 minutes or even 2 or 3 minutes and say to yourself, what's the energy that you want to bring to your family once you get home? And just try to slow down and try to, what would be the best version of myself? How would I be? And it's probably also a more soothing and calming version as well, isn't it? Just to make sure that you enter your family's realm with a different energy.
See, yes, what you're saying is because we have a very intense work that once it's finished and once we are out of the practice, we should reduce the intensity of our mental energy, because otherwise, if you are not aware of that, you can risk to not be present for your family. And sometimes it happens something that is very curious. It happens this, and I hear it this description from a lot of colleagues that do the course with me. When they are at work, they are thinking about home and about the family and what they have to do at home and the family and if the kids are okay at school, etc. And then they go home and they are thinking about the patient that didn't go well,
Work.
and the work of the lab that didn't go well, and so they are. It's not. It's like they are never there, not even for work or for the family. So that advice that you just said, that just takes 5 minutes, either it is in the car or whatever, or you can do. I mean, I have colleagues that works. They take some time to clear their head. They take a walk. They have this intention to really make that transition from work home with some kind of activity. It can be deep breathing, it can be light meditation, can just or just taking some time, like you said, in the car, listening to some music that they like, just to unwind. But what that do is just to reduce the intensity of the mental energy, and also gives you the chance to set the intention, just like you said. And we were saying before, we talked a lot about intentions today, but it's because it really makes a difference. You really have this intention to, okay, this was my day, but it's over. Now I'm going to be with my family. What is the energy that I want to bring? And it can even, if you are very aware of your priorities, it can even give you the chance, when you do that, give you the chance to have the feeling that you are honoring those priorities. Because if family is a priority for you, but when you are with them, you are not present. You are not an automatic pilot and thinking about work or whatever, then you will feel like you are failing, because family is a priority for you and not giving them attention. But you might be in a time of your life, but you might be in a time of your life that you have to work, and that you have to show up for work, and that you have to be in the practice from 9 to 9 sometimes, because there are times in our life that we have to do that. So that's a way of you showing up also to your family, even if you have to work hard. So for you to be able to be present. So just those 5 minutes really have an effect. And it's interesting, because you mentioned that exercise does not work so good with you. I mean, some kind of exercise, you said surf works, but with a personal trainer does not work. But it's interesting, because there are some people that they feel that they cannot disconnect. That when you say, like, try to relax, and all of those things that I said, okay, just sit in the car, or just take some time to clear your head, or take a walk, they feel that they cannot. I mean, the intensity of the work does not allow them to descend mentally. So actually, what works is the other thing. So the instead of slowing down, it's to continue intensity. So, for example, with some kind of exercise that they feel good on doing it, and that they are engaged, and they feel that by doing that they naturally relax. That's it. So and it's interesting, because and of course we are all different, and that's a good thing, because some colleagues, that advice that I always give, to breathe, and to between the patients, to do deep breathing as a way to also slow down and disconnect the automatic pilot and everything. There are some colleagues, and I have been having this very interesting feedback, that say, but I get sleepy, and it's not worked for me. So instead of doing that, they do like push-ups, or so they activate. So see what works for you. But this is a way of you, after work, to bring this transition mode, like you said, because we need to have this transition, because the profession is highly demanding in a mental way. And if you don't bring this transition, then you risk to not be present with whatever you are doing. Just like you said, it doesn't work for me with the personal trainer, because I'm not present there. So for me, it doesn't work.
It's like
I don't enjoy it. Yeah.
After like 15 minutes, I'm so worn out, and they crush me so much that I stop thinking about it. But the first 10 minutes, I mean, they are being polite and talking to me. I'm sure because I'm just in autopilot mode, just talking to them. But in my head, it's the things the emails that I should be sending that night.
Yeah, that's it.
You know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And one of the things that also helps me, that's a very tactical thing, which is if I am, for example, I am out of the I'm leaving the practice, and I have this rule, which is you should always fill the patient's files, what you did, and lab communication and stuff like that. But if I feel that I don't have time, I use this thing, which is Google Tasks, and I love it. It's like a note taking. So send communication to the lab regarding patient X, and I know that it is there, and I will not forget it. And I maybe eventually deal with that some other day, but it just allows me to put that in a box. Okay, it's in a box. I know I will not forget it because I always use it next to my Gmail. G-Task is amazing. Google Tasks is amazing because it integrates with your phone. I think it's probably the app that I use the most, Gmail and G-Tasks. So if it is in this box, okay, so now I can relax, and because I will take care of that in another day if it's not urgent. That helps me a lot. Otherwise, I would be.
That's another great tip, to really set what is called a wrap-up routine. So to really make sure that you have this routine, and this should be in your daily basis, that you really, in the end of your day, it's like, imagine you are already late, you just pack your things, and you so there will be a lot of things that it will be on your mind because you did not finish, or at least you did not or at least you did not take action, like you said, to be able to make sure that you will remember it. So make sure that you have that routine, so that you can really take those things off your head. The same thing that you should have like a starting routine, and like you said, like we already said, to set your intention for the day, to really to bring the attitude that you want to have for the day. You should have a wrap-up routine to make sure that you to check all the boxes for you when you close the door of the clinic, that you are not worried about anything. Otherwise, those things will not leave your head for sure. You can meditate, you can walk, whatever, you can exercise, but those things will not.
If you think that I should not if you think like, I cannot forget about this, you better find a system not to forget it.
Sometimes you even wake up at night thinking about that. I cannot forget about that.
Yeah. And do you know what I saw in Latin America? And I saw that a lot in Chile, and I think in Peru. Students, they would take notes by sending WhatsApp messages and photos to themselves. And I find that very weird, But they did. Have you ever saw that?
No.
I never saw that. You send it WhatsApp. WhatsApp is so central, which I don't think is a good idea. It's so central, they would send WhatsApp notes to themselves. That was... Then they would probably search it by date or something.
But nowadays you have a lot of technology that you can use to really make sure, because your brain, from the moment that you write it down, that you know that you wrote it down and you will not forget it, your brain closes that tab. Otherwise, you have a lot of tabs open in your brain, and even you're going to wake up during the night remembering it. So this is really a great tip. But you have to make it a routine. It's like you have to have the system in place. You have to make a routine.
I always go in the end of if I can, after the appointment, I just go down and write down. But sometimes after the appointment, I have to write down and I have to send the email to the lab. So there's a next appointment, so I don't have time. So at the end of the day, I always go through all the appointments. And so I miss this. Okay, so if I've missed this, I need to write down on the G tasks. This needs to be done. So that I can.
Another very important thing.
Forget it.
Another very important thing that I want to that don't want to forget to say is this: by you having this time to really having this transition time between work and home, or personal time or family time, whatever it is, it will allow you. Either is to reduce the intensity of your mental energy with taking some time to taking a walk, or just be in your car, or if you are the other kind with
more active,
a highly charged, active, intense work. Whatever is the way, this is very important, because by doing that, you are also avoiding the unhealthy ways to completely, absorb your mental energy from transition from work to home. And this can be overeating, overspending, over drinking, over social, over Facebooking, and over Instagram, like numbing yourself. So you really have to be very conscious about this. And this is also a problem among dentists, because yes, it's an intensive work.
I think I do that. I think I do that sometimes.
Yeah,
numb myself with social media scrolling.
So if you find this healthy ways of doing this transition, then you will, and if you are aware of your priorities, it will be easier. It will be for you to make that transition, and to be present into whatever you are doing. Otherwise, you can engage in this other unhealthy ways, and it's very easy for this to happen due to the intensity, because you are tired. And sometimes it's more easy to eat a pizza and to have a marathon of Netflix or whatever than to meditation,
3 episodes in a row,
than to do meditation or to do some physical exercise. So this, and I'm not saying that it's you. I mean, you can do it. I'm not saying, but you should be aware that when that is useful for you. So when you need it, not as an act of indulgence, and then becomes a way of you
it's
dealing
numbing.
with the situation.
Just want not to think. Just go to the nothing box and just stay there. I know exactly how that feels.
But it's very tempting, especially after very hard days, intense days.
Yeah, because you want not to. Basically, your willpower is low, and you just want to do something that it's like basic human nature, which is either you eat, or you go to social media, or you just drink alcohol, or you smoke, or well, actually, it would probably be healthier just to go to sleep.
Yeah, okay, but between work and sleep, you can do some activities also. But
yes, of course.
But a way of making sure, it's to make a plan. You should put these things in your agenda, in your routine. The same way that you plan work
and journaling.
That's it. The same way that you plan work, and that you plan certain activities, like going with the car to the revision, or whatever it is. We should plan these activities in the agenda. When I start doing that, it makes a lot of difference to really have those things in my agenda, even if it's just like 5 minutes to journaling, but it makes a difference if you really make a plan to do it, because then they will enter on your routine. Then they will really enter on your routine.
Yeah, you only do what you schedule, isn't it, and what you think about. True. Otherwise, if you don't do it intentionally.
No, you do what you schedule. You don't do what you think about. You might think about doing it. So this is the secret about meditation. Sometimes when I have people asking me about to support them on how to build a consistent meditation practice. This is the main secret. Part of having a meditation practice, 90% of the work is to sit. It's to find the time to sit. If you do that, then you already have 90% of the work done. So the secret...
It's like what Stephen Pressfield says. It's like the worst part is not writing. The worst part is to sit down to write.
Yeah. Meditation is exactly the same thing. So it helps a lot if you have it in your agenda. If you know that from 9 until 9:15 of Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday, if you want to do it three times a week, from 9 to 9:15, it's in your agenda. You know where you have to do. You know where you have to be. You know that you're going to sit, and you have nothing else to do. So you have no excuses. So that's part of the work, and it makes a lot of difference. So this transition, the way you switch off after work, this transition, it has to be intentional. And again, intention. We talk about intention today, but you really have to see what works for you. Even in a physiological way, what works for you, and you have to make a plan, and you have to set that plan in your agenda. You have to make it in a way that you know you will do it. Otherwise, because we talked a lot about intentions, but we cannot forget that we have to, from the intention, then we have to put it in action. So
take the action.
Yeah. And that what will make the difference and bring the benefits. So there are actually ways of switch off after work, even as the work as demanding as dentistry, but it takes
what do you think about
of work. Yeah.
Everybody talks about that, of course. I mean, do you give any advice regarding electronic devices and stuff like that after work? I mean, ideally you shouldn't, isn't it? One of the things that I still do, I still do use a lot of the computer, and often in bed, which is a killer, I know.
Yeah.
But I often do that. Yeah.
It disturbs your sleep.
Yeah, your sleep.
But you have to. I mean, I'm not very fundamentalist here, because I think this all works if it makes sense for you. It's the same thing as meditation.
Yes.
Like when they say, but I have to do it in the morning. Yeah, but if your mornings are chaotic, and if you have children and you have to bring them at school, and meditation will not work for you in the morning. Do it when it works for you. So I think you have to do what works for you, but you also have to keep in mind that there are certain things that, if you have problems sleeping, and if you complain about that, maybe you should think, maybe I should not bring the PC to bed. Maybe I should reduce my screen time. So it's about the perfectionism. Don't try to be perfect. Really see what works for you and take it from there.
Yeah, one of the things that would be also a nice podcast theme would be the continuous solicitation from communication apps, whether social media or WhatsApp or Facebook. I mean, it's crazy the amount of people, the amount of messages that I get that actually are work related, that I get through Facebook, sometimes through patients, or through Instagram, or through WhatsApp, sometimes at completely crazy hours. It's just just modeling
it's a
how
way.
addicted we all are to this constant communication every time, all the time.
But that has to do with
which also affects the transition. And which also affects the transition. I mean, if you get home and if you, like, for example, one of the students of the course that we were saying that she was telling us, I remember that she spoiled the patients to a point where she would answer them. She would answer the WhatsApp she would answer the WhatsApp to them every time. And of course, if you get your patients used to that, it's impossible to get a transition, isn't it? It's impossible to get home. I remember I was talking once to a pediatrician, a physician, a pediatrician, and she was saying that you have no idea the amount of online consultations that I give through WhatsApp. They give me pictures of things that you have even no idea. She was even ashamed of telling me. You have no idea the kinds of pictures that fathers give them of the kids. And I asked them, well, do you charge that? He says no. So
I think that's starting to be charged.
But sometimes I tell them,
in certain countries already.
And then in Spain there's an app for pediatricians, and it needs to be. But she would charge and said, well, but sometimes I just send them to go to the appointment. But I think it's also has to do a lot with this subject that we are talking about, which is you cannot make a transition if you allow, of course, your staff, which you shouldn't, but even your patients, isn't it? I mean, there needs to be some. If it is an emergency, if there's a bleeding after a surgery, that's one thing. But you cannot allow them to be, you have to be able to give some distance from that. And I think that, I think there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong if you just don't answer a text or don't answer a WhatsApp or just don't open it if it is from a patient and if it's not urgent. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that you should be okay with that. You should be present when it's needed, but not all the time. And I think you should be okay with that. Because otherwise, that transition will never happen.
Yeah, and also because, like we were saying, it's a profession that has a lot of external stimulation. You are dealing with a lot of things, even noise and even an emotional level, everything. So you should have some silence. No, you should allow yourself to have some silence. That's very important. Because otherwise, you continue on this mode of only stimulation, and you don't allow yourself to really reset. You really should have, even if it's just 5 minutes, but you should be in silence and to allow to really disconnect. And also I think it's very important to listen to yourself and to give yourself what you need. If you are tired, just rest. We go back again. Just rest. There's this, I had this also this colleague dentist that is working with me. She's doing the course in an individual way, and she is starting to develop other interests otherwise dentistry.
Out of dentistry.
And she realized that she needed to make time for that. Because what was happening is that she had to deal with that after a very intense work day, and she didn't have the energy. So she cut it on her work days in order to develop the skills that she needed. Because she was forcing herself to, after an intense work day, to have like a second job, and it's not. She
and it's very violent.
It's very.
You cannot,
even
if you enjoy, even if you enjoy it, you will not actually enjoy it because you don't.
But it's interesting because she relate it as an acceptance process. You know, I had to accept it. I had to accept it that I cannot do it after work, that I need to rest.
Yes.
I had to accept it, that she's starting just taking 2 days a month for that. That's her starting point, and that's great. That's great.
That's good.
But I had to accept it. Yeah, that's it. You have to accept it, that you are tired, that you need to rest. So it's also the ability to acknowledge the way that you are feeling and to give yourself what you need, to allow yourself to give what you need. Because sometimes we don't really accept that we are tired, or that we are, I don't know, anxious, sad, or whatever. Even sometimes when things go very well and we have this high energy, right? But we are tired. So it's a lot of connecting to how we feel and giving ourselves what we need, and also it helps.
Yeah, listening to yourself is very important.
Yeah, and also it helps to have someone next to you that understands.
Checks you.
Yeah, if you need silence, and if you say, "Oh, look, I'm tired. I need silence," you know, to have someone by yourself to say, "Yeah, okay, I understand." So that's important. Also.
Yes, but it's when we were talking, I was thinking about one of the things that irritates me the most in my practice, and that it used to be an issue. I had one of the assistants that would talk very loudly on the phone, and I would always say, "Look, you don't need to." It's just that she was used to that. That's what was her style, and it was difficult. It was a struggle of quite a few years. I always had to. Yes. It was a struggle of quite a few. I mean, she would stop, but then she would. Well, I was like, "Wait, what's?" And I told, "Look, whenever I come to you, and if I talk like softer, it's because I'm basically letting you that you are way too much." And it's very tricky to call the attention of someone about that, because that can be taken as a personal insult, right? Oh, I've talked loud. But the way that I handled that was I hired when I started to hire some external help for communication, like customer service in presence and in telephone. One of the things I would tell my customer service, that's actually a very nice tip. If you hire some customer service help from someone outside that goes to your practice and gives the course or something, you should always tell them what's the things that are going on with some of each person that you believe, and you should always give them a profile of each of the persons, and not in a negative way, but look, I think this is going on, see what you find. And I remember having talked about that I have an issue with this person here, that she talks very loud. Can you help me with that? And they would, in a soft way, letting them know, like, look, this is not okay. And this can be disturbing for the rest of the practice and for the rest of the patient. But yes, it is something that really annoys me. Whenever someone peaks their voice, or just, it really is, for me, it really touches my buttons, because I'm very used to try to use my voice to calm down patients, and I want to have like a drama-free environment, and I always try to use my tone of voice to do that, to achieve that. When someone raises the voice like they are talking louder than what they need, for me, really is an issue. It really was an issue with some of my staff for a few.
Now imagine getting home and having.
I mean, if it is your partner, get a divorce.
Yeah.
If it is your kids, just accept it.
Yeah.
But if it is our partner, if the tone of voice bothers you, I would file for divorce. That's non-negotiable.
Something is wrong. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you want to add something. I think I.
No, I think that
all my tips, I think I gave them.
I think that we covered a lot of things, and I think it was. I think many of the things that we talked are actually very interesting, and I think that usually things that are not talked about when we are talking about our personal integration in the professional part. And I think that we have touched some very interesting things. Looking forward for the next one.
Yeah, me too. And I think it was. I thought it was very interesting also, and we touched an idea that I always like to reinforce, that physical presence doesn't always equals mental presence. So just be very aware if you want to this shift to happen. Where is your mind? Because you might be there and your body might be there, but your mind is somewhere else. So you're not, if your priority is your family, then you are not respecting that. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Andre. It was lovely once again.
Thank you, Manuela.
And thank you for the ones listening. Don't forget that we have our Conscience Leadership course with a new date in April, 6, 7, and 8
what are the
of
dates?
April. 6, 7, and
6,
8
7,
of
and 8.
April 2023. It's the new date.
Sagres again.
6, 7, and 8 of April 2023.
And in Sagres again, right?
In Sagres again, yes.
Yes.
So just go to softbites.online.
Exactly. 6, 7, and 8. Perfect.
Just go to softbites.online and you have all the information there. And thank you so much for listening.
Actually, it's exactly in the Eastern break.
Yes, it is.
Isn't it?
It's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then Sunday, it's Eastern Sunday.
Perfect. It will be a blessed course.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Andrea. Thank you for everyone for listening. We hope that this was useful for you guys. And we see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.